Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the regional qualifier here for LCK 2020. Things just got interesting as we are now at a best of 3 between Afreeca and T1. T1 looking so dominant in game number 1, I was expecting another sweep. But Afreeca, in a 50-minute slugfest, did manage to come out on top. So I wonder whether that's going to give them the momentum needed to close out the series. And I'm also wondering about the roster for T1. Does it change now after a loss?
That's one of the questions I'm having, and I think that if you look at the context on how they lost this game, it didn't have really anything to do with roster stuff. In fact, most of the reason, again, why they were even in this game was because of Gumayusi down in bottom lane and how far ahead the bot lane managed to get to offset the pressure that was present in top lane. I think that a little bit of a diffy in the driffy for the top lane picks caused a lot of problems. And that Keen was able to influence the game so much from the top lane Lucian pick, even eventually converting it into mid-game potency. But it felt like T1 really blundered this game, if you remember. They were up several thousand gold. They were in such a commanding position. They had the dragons under their belt, and then in one fell swoop, everything just went away. That's not really that alarming, especially not after the dominating game 1.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what's going to happen here as we move back to the opposite sides of the map as well. It's likely that T1 are going to choose the blue side yet again. It certainly has been a more powerful side, especially in this series, as we found out, 100% blue side win rate thus far. So T1, I'm still thinking, are going to be the favorites in this series. They'll get more blue sides. You know, it's sort of just how things go when it comes to a best of 5. It's going to be an odd number of games if we are going to go the distance. So still, I think that T1 are in a decent spot, but they're going to have to shake off that loss. And we'll have to see how Gumayusi's going to be able to be after a loss like that, because that's a tough one, man. Like, extraordinarily long games like that, they're taxing irrespective. And when they're that close and you have to stay so mentally in it for so long, like in a lot of these stomps, right? You turn off your brain to it and you start thinking about what to do in the next game. That was not the case for T1 in that one, because it was so close for so very long and bouncing backwards and forwards. So it's going to be very interesting to see what T1's actually going to react with as we move into what will be game number 3 coming up very soon. And also, you know, the draft is going to be another interesting thing. Like, with a game going that long, do we now go for scaling is another question.
That is indeed going to be one of the question marks that I think a lot of people are going to have, because these were two very polar opposite type of team compositions. Both of them a little bit centered around the marksman champion. Obviously, Caitlyn and Draven are centerpieces of the comp, so we'll see if maybe we get any sort of differences as we hop into the Rift for game number 3. But obviously, Afreeca, I think it's very unlikely that they're going to get that kind of a top lane discrepancy matchup again. And what might that mean for them inside of the draft phase as well? Because...
Okay, there's a bit of a headset change, guys, so we are taking our time getting into game number 3. But thankfully, when it's something like a headset, it can be swapped out pretty quickly. And then we'll be getting in there. And I just want the draft, man. I just want to see what the adaptations are going to be for game number 3. Because so far, I mean, you were talking about the top lane, Keen absolutely smashing Canna in game number 2. These are back-to-back Renekton games, and we know that Canna has a deep champion pool himself and can certainly flex onto some different picks. So as we get into pick and ban, we'll just have to see whether the priorities are going to switch around just a little bit. We're going to have no changes when it comes to the roster either. So sticking to their guns, T1 not going to sub out LM, not going to sub out anyone moving into this one. So Kalista going to be the first ban here by T1. They're probably going to go back to the bans that they had in game 1, which was, of course, Kalista Nautilus. And Afreeca going to get rid of Twist of Fate and Azir once again as well. They've been doing this every single time. Lucian taken off the board.
Banning Lucian on blue, suggesting that they do not want to play it, is very surprising. Now Afreeca, they're going to ban away Caitlyn now on the blue side. And what is T1 going to pick this time around as their B1 selection?
You know, see what the priority is going to be here. Certainly a lot of junglers are left available. but there's not really one that stands out as the absolute necessity. As hi guys, we're back again. Gumayushi is disconnected from draft, I think.
Okay.
That's a problem. You do need to have everyone in there in order to get stuff collected. So we are going to be remaking this draft. So far, not too many surprises. I like the adaptation of actually banning away the Caitlyn in this one. And the Lucian ban, I think on blue side, makes a lot of sense before the Caitlyn gets banned, because you don't want to be forced into a situation where you get one or the other, or something like that. You want to be able to get rid of them. So just sort of forcing out that Caitlyn ban that came through there from Afreeca. But I think based on the bans, we're going to have a pretty honest draft, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the priorities are going to be.
I'm curious why Lucian gets banned away, though, given that Kana should certainly be able to pilot it willingly, and then you have Faker, and then Gumayushi can definitely play it as well. So that one strikes me as very peculiar, because Lucian's been such high priority, pretty much globally, on the pick and bans. So I think that one is very interested. They did not lock in their B1 selection, so I don't know where they're going to try to go there. But hopefully they can reconnect to the lobby here soon, and we'll see what they have underway. It's going to be interesting to see how Afreeca now try to line up their counter picks, so they will still have that going for them now on the red side.
Yeah,
they're
a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Now they have...
No, you go. You go.
No,
friend.
you go.
Aw. No, I wasn't really going to say anything.
Okay.
It's totally fine. You can certainly say it's so much harder when we're not sitting next to each other. You
that
know?
is true.
Then
actually.
you just interrupt each other.
I can't
all
even
the time.
see you.
I know.
I feel like I'm in the death. Well, I am in the death realm.
Yeah, you live there.
Honestly,
I can see you, but I can see you like a few seconds later on Twitch. Like that's the option I have.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I don't use that option. I'm looking at the Korean casters right now.
I know. Sunke looking amazing, as per usual. Yeah. I like it when he wears the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does it match his two co-commentators in Cloud Templar and Wadid, but also, you know, just looks very dashing. Big fan. As we're just waiting for this headset issue to be sorted out. And we don't even have a game to talk about just yet. So I guess we can go back to talking about absolutely anything. LS, so do you have anything planned for the off season when there's not as much League of Legends going on?
Really looking forward to Worlds. The group drawing is going to be the group drawing is actually happening on my birthday, so that's that's kind of nice. Yeah,
that's a happy birthday if ever I've seen one.
Yes.
What are you which group of death are you the most scared of?
Oh, so I don't actually know the formatting of all the groups or how things can occur, but there's a world where you get Dom1 plus JDG, right? In the same group. That one's pretty scary.
That one's scary.
I feel like, I think that one is definitely probably the scariest that you could potentially end up in.
The other side of that coin is the top esports DRX group, but I don't know whether DRX are that scary for a lot of those teams. But yes, definitely some very spicy possibilities when it comes to the World Championship. I think that JDG Damwon group is that's a huge yikes for anybody else in there. But here we go. We are going to cycle through exactly the same bands and then get back into things. Thankfully, we have all of the headsets sorted out, and we'll be just fine. Having a look at the draft here, like in that situation, I understand why T1 are banning the Lucian, because they're prioritizing Gumayushi over getting the Lucian, getting the Lucian for themselves. As Lilia is going to be the first pick here. That was the ban that sort of fell through based on banning that Lucian, but T1 able to snap that one up for themselves. So now Afreeca can answer with, a whole lot of different things. Renekton Nidalee could be an option to just grab that combo. But we've seen that not necessarily work out, as that is just a snap Orianna for Fly.
Yeah, that one is a bit surprising to see picked up so early on. Yeah. But I guess they want to conceal something for the later stages of the draft, and so Fly's going to have to be the one that sacrifices. As we'll see what they pair it away with. I would imagine that a jungler would come in for Spirit. And okay, well, Hecarim
Yeah, we're going for the Wombo combo already. As Afreeca take away two champions that do synergize relatively well with one another. We see Clippity Clop versus Clippity Clop all the time.
Yes.
Just so much of this.
Yep. We'll have to see what T1 want to reply to this with. As there's also the option for Keen to take the Hecarim up in top lane, although that is way less common than anything else. And okay, Renekton picked up by T1.
Canna going for 3 in a row. I'm not going to have to deal with the Lucian, but Quinn is still available.
Yeah.
I think it's more feared in the LPL is the Quinn matchup. As Baker thinking about what he wants to take away. As my cat is just yelling in the background. I hope you guys can't hear that.
I cannot hear it.
You can. Yeah, I don't think you can. As it's Zoe again. So the only change from last game is the Lilius so far for
Yeah,
T1.
the Sleep Sisters are going to be here. Same school of magic, I guess, going on there between the two. And Afreeca now, they have option to just counterpick top lane right now if they want it and then go into a bot lane, but I would imagine a marksman here would probably be the best. And it's going to be Ezreal. Yeah. So they're taking away the option for T1 to try to get Ezreal Zoe as a duo. Obviously one of the most prolific in the history of LoL.
Yeah, expecting some dive to come out from Keen potentially, just with the self-sufficiency of the Ezreal. Could certainly help them with more of that dive teamfight composition. But still very flexible on Afreeca's side, and they can, like you say, move the Hecarim between top and jungle if they would like to. Kai'Sa to be banned away here. That's an interesting one. Would be interested to see what Gumyushi is going to do. You don't want to play Draven into the Ezreal, because of course he likes to build a lot of armor, and your lethality ain't going to be as valuable. And there's the Quinn ban that we were talking about. I was half expecting the Quinn to come in. As the Kalista was banned, of course, that's the flex ban between Keen and Mystic. That was what T1 actually fell to in game number 3 of the playoffs, and that's why they've been jumping on that particular ban. As Draven is still banned away.
That's very surprising, given Afreeca's team composition is so effective at handling him.
Yeah,
so a lot of respect.
Lane.
Yeah.
Already, yeah.
Being given over. Jason, Quinn, both banned away, and so they're saying to Afreeca, what other champion do you have to use against Renekton here?
Well, we'll see. I mean, Keen could pick up the Ornn if he wants to. And try that matchup. Didn't work in game 1, but of course that was Fly that was playing it. As Shen is going to be the choice. I love this.
Yep. They are very teamfight centric right now on the side of Afreeca.
Yep. Also, the skirmishes should be working out here as well, as Jinx is hovered. My God, this would be very interesting. She does have a huge target on her back for, you know, the horse with Shen with Orianna combo. Like, the ability to explode someone is very, very high from Afreeca, as T1 are going to go for the Jhin instead. So, that's going to help. You know, you don't necessarily have the mobility. You have a lot of movement speed for Jhin, but he can stand away from the teamfight and just throw bullets, and that could certainly help keep him alive.
Yeah, and I feel like they take the Bard so that Afreeca can't go for it to shut Jhin up when he goes for his ultimate. And so there's a little bit of effectiveness there, but T1's team composition leaves me feeling a little bit queasy.
Yeah.
As they're very all over the place with just generic good champions, pretty much is the approach that they're probably thinking, is that they have very solid champions in their mind in each role, and they're just going to try to have a toolbox, basically, to utilize inside of the game. But as far as identity goes, there's not really one on this team comp. Whereas on Afreeca's, you can see a lot of different themes, gears, and modes available, and a lot of which is very powerful against T1. Zoe and Jhin, what are they supposed to do when they just get dove on by Hecarim with the ball and are stand united with a Yuumi on top riding the horse? There is so much, but then also the poke and control Orianna and Ezreal offer. Things are very scary. T1, they need to rely on getting ahead on their own individual prowess and then trying to convert a win from there.
Yeah. Actually, I really wish that this Afreeca comp had a Maokai jungle, because then you could literally call it the Christmas tree comp, which is just attach everything to the jungler and then send him in, you know? There can be Shen coming through, there can be the Yuumi on top of him with an orb there as well. Ezreal, unfortunately, not going to be able to join in with all of those connections, but otherwise, I mean, this is going to be a massively stacked Hecarim, theoretically. But also, it works as an anti-pick comp, and when you've got a Zoe on the other side, the mid games for T1 is all going to be about pick. And so Stand United going to be extraordinarily valuable. I think Afreeca have actually drafted really intelligently here in game number 2. But T1 can still make some magic happen. I'm just looking at that top side and very excited to see what Keen's going to be able to do, because we've seen across the world Shens just eat crocodiles for breakfast, man.
Yeah. We'll see how Keen manages to pilot it. He has the Grasp of the Undying up there in the top lane. Debonair Ezreal, I think, right? That's the skin Mystic's using.
It is indeed. Is that TPA Orianna? Shout out to Toys. Season 2.
Yeah, gonna come in here. He is on top of a ward, just prancing around really quick.
Yeah, Keen could have gone towards the TPA Shen, but he didn't decide to. A little bit sad. That's all right. Pulse Fire is pretty cool. And yeah, we just got some milling about here at the beginning. I'm very, very interested to see what this mid game's going to do. Also, our eyes are going to be on Spirit to see how his Hecarim's going to do in comparison to Dreads in game number 1, which was pretty forgettable, to be perfectly honest.
And I'm also curious why a team composition that is so centered around scaling and mid and late game power has double Scorch. That one definitely, that one tickles me.
Well, maybe it's about mitigating your early game weaknesses with the power of the Scorch.
Okay.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, I mean...
That was facetious, by the way, guys. Just needed to point that one out. As it's the first time for Spirit's Hecarim in this particular season. Has, of course, played it many times, be it here, or in the LPL, or in the LEC, or... Well, I guess it was EU LCS when he was playing. As Fly doing a bit of damage there to Faker. Actually winning out in these trades quite nicely in that mid lane, but Faker does like to eat through his Corrupting Potion quite early, as this is what we expect in this matchup. The Shen just goes in, and the Renekton just doesn't have too many answers in this matchup.
No. And he's just getting shoved in. Now, Keen, though, with the push to do nothing, I mean, this is very good for Kana. He keeps the second wave right in front of the turret. There's very little option for what Keen can do. And so he's just able to CS this entirely for free. He's very happy with this. And now Keen, he's going to be slower to crash this third wave. And you can see Gumayusi and Effort, they're piling the wave up. They want to just dive Yuumi.
Well, Ellen's going to be here. Immediate teleport come through from the top side of the map, but Faker's going to get in here as well. As, oh my god, Mystic wanted to get that kill but couldn't do it. As Ellen's going to throw up that T1 flare. And now Ben, the lonely kitty cat, is down here. I believe the teleport was actually cancelled on the top side of the map as well. I mean, of course it was, because Keen's not here. As there's a teleport back from Mystic. It's a big minion wave that he did need to try and pick up. A dangerous teleport, actually, because there's still a lot of people here, but Spirit also in the area. As he comes through, steals away the Rift Scuttler.
That's actually a really big pickoff for him, because otherwise Lilia would have been up at camp and would have gotten the first blood and an assist. So pretty big, fortunate steal there. As Elm now is just going to go into getting the Golem camp. And now the other thing is that Kana, he has teleport advantage up in top lane. And just take a look at how they coordinate this. The ward teleport at the top. Keen just gets interrupted. Kana says, where are you going? Elam gets the first blood, which is very big, by the way, because Lilia, her whole thing is that once she gets Runic Echo, once she starts getting some AP under her belt, her clear speed becomes so insane, and it just transitions into this monster that's very hard to keep up with. And then given the nature of her kit, very, very oppressive pretty much all around. And here in game number 3, T1, they're off to a very, very powerful start yet again.
Yeah. And it also has flow-on effects based on this game as well, the Lilia getting ahead, which is Spirit is a very gold-hungry jungler on this Hecarim. And so if the Lilia is able to power farm and start counter-jungling, then it only gets worse and worse for Afreeca. And it's sort of, you know, fits into the Lilia game plan as well as really denies what Afreeca want to do at the same time. So it's sort of like twofold coming through from this this Lilia. And so very, very scary stuff. So 1-0-1 start. Fiendish Codex already completed. And Gumiushi going to get slowed down a little bit there by the Prowling Projectile.
Almost has second plate.
Yeah, the Jhin having a good time.
Well, Gumiushi is trying to actively just push up inside of the lane. Trying to keep Mystic and Ben under quite a bit of pressure. And Fly, in the meanwhile, I mean, he has the Cleanse versus the Zoe, but Faker with the Spellbook, he's going to have that available for him soon. Elm is, yeah, I don't...
He is going to be able to get out of the way. The Watch Out 8 going to do it. Bowling Ball will connect as Canna teleported forward. That's that teleport advantage that you were talking about. And now Spirit, he doesn't have an ultimate, and he is well and truly dead. No flashes for the horsey. And this game is... It's almost feeling like it's done and dusted very, very early.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2-0 and 1 Jhin. And the Lilia as well, 1-0 and 2. Hecarim getting stunted when he's so integral to Afreeca's ability to remain relevant in the later stages of the game because of what the champion synergizes with, the Shen and the Orianna. So for them to fall so far behind so early is really not very good news bears. And there's a giant wave waiting for Kana. Keen very slow on trying to get the crash, and Kana doesn't lose anything pretty much. For his teleport, he is feeling very, very good right now.
Yeah, that comes through from Keen, and that is going to be most likely to try and get towards this Tiamat, but he had to build a Ninja Tabi first to try and win out the matchup even easier. And so isn't going to be able to have that extra wave push, which, like you say, I mean, before that item comes in, Shen takes a very long time to do anything with the minion wave. As we're going to have a look at this one more time, it looked pretty good for Spirit, but unfortunately, the better helicopter wins, I guess, and that's going to be Lilia in this instance, and Kana gets through with a very nice teleport.
Well, Kana just able to come down there. Gumiushi ends up picking up that kill, and things are going pretty good here. 2,000 gold lead right now, 14-1 inside of this game. Spirit constantly trying to make things happen. He's running around now with his cat, and they're not able to really find anything. Elm is continuing to farm and power up. They're pretty much even right now in terms of jungle CS. Almost has that Runic Echoes completed. You can see he's powering into it. Kana very happy right now as well up in the top lane, and Keen is trying to go for the Tiamat as the first item.
Yep. We'll see whether it will be completed into the Titanic Hydra immediately as well. It's what we see most commonly from Shens. And then into full tank, of course, afterwards. Effort moving back down towards the bottom lane. He just went on a bit of a chime hunt. Not sure how many he actually collected for himself, but the Elderwood Bard this time around, I'm not a fan. I think the Hot Cocoa is what you need every single time. As, yeah, I know the Astronaut's cool, but Hot Cocoa, man, you can't go past it.
The Hot Cocoa one is absolutely one that takes the cake and eats it.
Uh-huh. Or the cocoa and eats it, or drinks it, or something like that. This Faker takes the blue buff and wears it, I think. Is that what you do? You wear it? Is it like mana improving clothing?
I think you're imbued by it.
Oh, that's a good word.
You like that?
I'm all about that. Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Well, True Shot Barrage goes across. Both of these bot laners do have a fair bit of sustain available, as Kana doesn't have his stun anymore, as LM looks for Keen. The flash comes out. Damn, that is a lot of respect there by Keen.
Yep, Hecarim not in close enough proximity for there to be any sort of outplay potential. LM, I really don't like when junglers do this. You can see all of his camps are pretty much up, and he's randomly starting the Rift Herald. Now, the thing, though, is that I guess Kana, he has the crash up in top, but when you get the Rift Herald, there has to be a real reason to use it, and using it super early on here, when you look at the lane state, the fact the Dragon's still up, and both junglers are still just powering away. He does end up getting it for free, though. There's no real contest. Now he'll just go into a full clear down to bottom. Everything's very stable. T1 seem very content to just allow everything to keep playing out the way that it does. And what we're hoping for, most likely, is that the Rift Herald just gets used in mid. Because otherwise, an Orianna tier 1 turret is going to be pretty hard to chip away at in the later stages.
Yeah. Especially when, you know, Mystic can be there as well. As that's a great taunt by Kayn. Pulls counter right back underneath that turret. He's going to lose a bit of his health bar. Kayn does have his teleport back up, so teleport advantage now over to Afreeca theoretically. But with Stand United available, I mean, Afreeca don't even need it, right? So now, when Spirit comes in, there's the Stand United, but that's a great stun. And so completely denied. And now Canna going to be able to take down a bunch of plates up here towards the top side. No Herald required for the Renekton to keep plowing forward. As Kayn will teleport up. Does now have that Tiamat that we were talking about as Faker. Heals. Now looks for more. Tempered Fate comes down. Bubble. Not actually available just yet, as there's the ulti out of the Yuumi. Gumayusi having to flash out of the way. Is now Faker very low effort as well, but he magically journeys as Mystic's going to be taken down. Elim towards the bottom side. Collects a double. And this Lilia is just massive right now.
Yeah, the Lilia is so out of control right now inside of this game. 3-0 and 2, and the Jhin as well. And so T1 are really just taking control of everything that's happening. Gumayusi gonna get all of the remaining turret plates and the first blood turret gold. This is a 5,000 gold lead at 11.5 minutes here for T1, and honestly, Atlas, I mean, things are looking so doom and gloom. The Hecarim is so far behind in the jungle, even if he ults in with Stand United, T1 are just gonna think it's a FedEx next day delivery, is all that's happening. They're gonna be very, very happy with that. They can easily take down the kill. Mystic, he had Flash, but he knew that nothing would end up coming from it, because he would just be slept by Elim. The Tempered Fate in mid lane was very bizarre. You just see this Faker. He doesn't have Bubble. He doesn't have Paddle Star. I have no idea what Effort was thinking. I mean, it was just one of the weirdest things I've seen in quite some time. Magical Journey, he gets shoved out of it, so maybe he's taking some damage there, but obviously Spirit's not able to follow up.
Yeah. In fact, getting nothing while there was a double kill on the bottom side of the map, so very nicely done by T1. That's why you see that 5-0 kill score up towards the top. And look, we're on perfect game pace at the moment. Afreeca have been able to do absolutely nothing this game so far. Mountain Drake in the back pocket of T1 now, as well as being able to pick up that Rift Herald. They managed to get that first turret. Let's see what more they can get. As T1, I think, are the only team I've seen. This was back in Casper Cup that were able to get all turret plates and deny everything from their opponent. The perfectest game, if you will, as Tempered Fate does absolutely nothing there from effort. As Faker comes on over, that is a lot of damage onto Mystic. He will pop, but he's only down to 100 health, and he should be able to escape this one. But T1 with a lot of pressure in this mid lane and a lot of plates to collect in the next minute. There's the first one.
Still 50 seconds to go, so we'll see if they can get any more chip damage. Probably very unlikely. But these 3 plates up in top, however, that's a bit of a different story. As, okay,
oh, no.
Kayn?
Yeah, it might just be curtains, as Kayn is going to be able to dash his way out, but the last bullet being held onto, and Gumayusi says, thank you very much. Collects that one for himself, and he'll now do even more damage to these turrets. He's already killed one. He's a bit greedy, though. He wants another one, as still another 20 seconds.
Turret edge?
Yeah, it might be.
Pretty good.
Oh, Bubble. It's going to connect onto the Hecarim as Faker doesn't find a Paddle Star, as there's the Smite to give Spirit back his health bar. But there's another turret plate going over to Gumayusi. And with 6 seconds to go, come on, yeah, reload faster, reload faster.
He can't do
yeah,
it.
He's not going to do it.
Yeah,
not gonna do it.
Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, he's not Graves. As, yep. So 1 plate goes begging, but that's 9 plates that the Jhin was able to lock down as he goes back to that turret and pops it in the end there. So 3-0-3, 100% kill contribution, has taken down the majority of the plates. I want to see the gold advantage that this this Jhin has right now.
Yeah. And you can just see Keen. I mean, he doesn't have anything. There's no vision to alert him that this is coming, but he should have been able to deduce that this would end up being the play out of T1. But, I mean, this game is looking done and dusted. 7,000 gold lead. 14.5 minutes in the game. If you're an Afreeca fan and you're wondering, well, how do they come back? I suppose that if Yumi's on top of Hecarim and gets a perfect ultimate onto Gumiyashi while Effort looks the other way, flashes accidentally outside of range, and then Faker turns off his monitor, there's a chance.
All right, there we go. Well, I mean, Keen doesn't have a chance here, as that is special delivery for Faker. That's how it feels to be the king, guys. You just get kills served up to you on a silver platter. And Faker very happily takes that one down. That was just a teleport to get him back to the mid lane as well. So a lot of value there as Fly is going to avoid the Tempered Fate. Effort. Not going to get stunned or anything like that. Gumayushi is going to be able to get one down, but nothing else going to happen here as Afreeca just feels like they don't have the economy to make this team composition work. I liked what the game plan was, but I mean, you need items to make it happen. And right now, they have barely any. 1.5 minutes on this Cloud Drake. T1 want to be able to collect that to keep this perfect game on the table.
Well, we'll see if they can indeed manage to do that. As 1 minute until the Cloud Dragon, which means we're going to get a spicy Drake again.
Yep. It'll be the Ocean or the Infernal. 16 minutes in, Spirit tries to get some vision down. You can see those control wards flanking this Dragon Pit with 1 minute to go. But Spirit will be able to eradicate it, at least towards this mid lane. As Shirley now just going to get poked a little bit by the Zoe. Lilia's going to be here. She definitely does this one pretty quickly. And it looks like Spirit, I mean, he's thinking about trying to stop this, but it's very dark in this river. He has his cat with him. Horses and cats, oh my, but he gets chunked by that paddle star. The exhaust goes down as well. As now Orb is going to be in position. It's very good for zoning as now Fly protects himself. No stun as there's the curtain call. A lot of damage potential here as Ellen's going to put them to sleep as the shockwave does connect, but Fly is just going to be swiped away. No more perfect game, but that was pretty damn good when it comes to team fights.
Yeah, and T1, I mean, they end up getting 4 of the kills inside of that. Faker does go down, but that doesn't matter. They should be able to raise both mid-tier 1 and tier 2 turret. Can't get that out.
Yeah.
As the Lilia is just so big right now inside of this game. Also, 6 Darksteel Sacks. Jhin probably going to be nearing his 3rd item here. We're not even at 20 minutes. And yeah, there it is. So Herald dies right as the 2nd turret in mid lane falls. Almost 11,000 gold at 17.5 minutes. This is a blowout.
Oh my god, a shellacking, if ever I've seen one. Let's have a look at this team fight one more time. Gumayushi's pretty damn good at landing these skill shots. I wonder whether that's based on his heritage. Of course, Gumayushi is Innovation's brother, very famous StarCraft player.
Yeah. One of the best, even, actually,
yeah,
in the entire history of StarCraft. So I guess it runs in the family. Interestingly enough, this is something I tweeted out on a very long time ago, but it's so interesting to me that so many siblings that I've met in esports, their siblings also tend to be very high MMR or very good at the games as well, and I wonder what goes into that. But obviously sample size very, very low, but stuff like that's always intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, you often look up to your brothers and things like that, so it's likely that you're going to be doing similar things. So it does make a bit of sense. You do have a bit of both. So, don't mind it.
No.
You'd sort of somewhat expect it, right?
Yeah, I'm mostly, obviously we'll probably never get any sort of scientific studies in the near future, but that would be pretty intriguing nonetheless, though. Especially when you look at Innovation and Gumayushi here, the caliber of players that they are. This isn't just high MMR. This is the highest elite level that you can
and
basically play at.
And that's also very dead Afreeca players, but we don't really need to talk about it at this stage of the game. If T1 are there near them, they just go down. That's sort of how it looks.
this is just ceremony at this point.
Indeed.
As we go through the motions. And honestly, I mean, 12,000, we're nearing 13,000 gold lead. And the next time that we see something like this might not happen unless NA and Dom want it Worlds. So, T1 really trying to just, you know, give us a little bit of a glimpse on what could happen.
Yeah, well, this one's Donzo, but now T1 need to still do it in the next game. So let's see them close this one out comfortably, and then find exactly what they need. The last bullet there doing about a bajillion damage, as that was a nice tempered fate from effort to make sure Kitty Cat had nothing that they could do. Bard into Yumi, always a pretty good choice. And let's get back into this game as effort, just trying to get some vision around this Baron area, and this should be a pretty comfortable one for T1. Only 20 minutes in, so they don't exactly have the most Baron damage, but that is Leandri's Torment already completed by LM, and so the Lilia does do a lot of damage to Baron, actually, with the spamming of abilities and the percent health damage.
Yep. And Faker, just very utilitied up right now, has the stopwatch as well, QSS on the Jhin. Everything is pretty much going as expected in this game.
Ooh, damn, Fly. Dancing Shoes on. Get him into Nax Rammus. As Faker will be able to push down this inner turret. I don't know whether Fly's going to be able to dance his way into success in this particular game. As, yeah, Afreeca sort of relegated to their own base. Keen is split pushing on the bottom side, has Stand United available, and might be able to grab an outer turret.
Yeah. Only a couple of minions left, but he'll definitely be able to shove in the next wave, certainly. And then go from there. T1 are playing this very reserved and safe. They probably don't really mind doing so either. The longer that this goes on, the higher that their chances get as third and fourth item completions come in, dragons continue to get stacked up, and then inevitably there will be a Baron fight that will take place. I would be a little surprised if they don't do it prior to Afreeca completing their second items, just so that they have an even larger inflated advantage, not even including the levels that they have going for them.
Whoa.
Although, if you actually take a look at the levels across the board, Fly is ahead in EXP right now, which is very surprising.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well, actually, getting into these side lanes and hoovering up the minions. Still, the team is pretty far behind. Building towards his Leandries is now Keen, trying to deal with Canna, but not doing so well. This is a Shen with basically just health as a defensive stat, and against Blade of the Ruin King, that feels real bad. And so Canna definitely going to be able to get ahead of him here in this lane. As the Baron has been started, it's just Gumyushi and Elam that are here, but they do a fair bit of damage to it. As now the Coco is in, or the little leaves that I guess Elderwood Bard puts down. Frustrating. The Spirit in position. He will be able to have an orb and a cat, and a man. Theoretically, if Shen presses his R button, as Canna looking for the flank. There's the Tempered Fate, but Arcane Shift, pretty good. Mystic flashing out of the way as Canna tries to get on top of him, and he will, but that's a really good shockwave out of Fly. Still going to be the Ezreal falling down. Gumyushi on the other side, though, has already fallen. The Hecarim goes down. It's a much closer fight than I think a lot of people were expecting, but now Ben, yeah, watch out, mate. It's a big eep coming through from the Kitty Cat. As the thumbs up comes forward, that's a triple kill for the Lilia. And Elam is so damn far ahead. The ace is eventually completed by Faker. And there should be a broken base unless T1 just want to reset.
No, it looks like they just want to reset. They're going to go down now towards the Dragon. Gold lead extends to 13,000 right now. Faker's still going to be up there in the top lane. Double 10-stack Darksteel. I would be very surprised if we don't see Mage Eyes come in for both of these players at this point in time, just because of the utility from that item. Super good. Keen does have teleport available, but there's no way for him to know, I don't think, about Faker. No point to really try to dog him down. We see how this all starts. The Tempered Fate ends up whipping. Kana comes in on the backside with a flame. He stuns up Mystic and gets on top of him. The Ignite ends up ticking down and bringing him over. And you can see what the intent of the Afreeca team comp is trying to do with the Yuumi, Shen, and Hecarim. When it can get onto the Jhin and almost blow up the Zoe as well, there is that theme and identity present, but they're just so far behind, it doesn't matter in this game in particular.
It's just the budget version of their comp right now, which does not look very good at all. Certainly require on having some money. You know, that they really don't with this 12,000 gold lead. Keen is trying to stop T1 from stealing away the blue buff, but he's not going to be able to, as Fake is going to collect that as he moves on over. And we don't have any of those Magi's completed just yet. I think the 708 Lilia should probably put it together.
Yeah, I'm not sure why these items were picked up over Magi's, but Boris does work in mysterious ways.
He does.
So you gotta understand that.
He's been plaguing both sides of this matchup so far.
Certainly has. His tendrils, they do run deep.
Indeed. Tendrils. Boris is a very scary person in my mind right now.
He's actually Cthulhu.
Yeah. Wait, Cthulhu or Cthulhu?
Either.
No, I guess both of them. That's a lot of tentacles. Sorry, tendrils is what you said. But yeah. I like to think that it's basically the same thing. As Faker clearing out vision, T1 should be able to grab this Baron anytime they like, but we're playing this one a bit by the numbers. And after game 2 went, you can understand exactly why. Control it down to this brush, as the ward is going to be cleared as well. And LM started off the Baron. And actually, the Baron got very angry with the Lilia.
They're playing so reserved right now, though. This is not what I was...
Fate is going to connect. That's a two-man shockwave, though, as LM does have to get the heck out of there. He's not going to be in this fight anymore. Bubble will connect as there's the curtain call. He's going to be hunting for Mystic and Fly in that backline. All of them getting decorated with these bullets, but the last one is not going to connect. As the snare not going to land onto Keen at all either. As T1, they do get the disengage. That is not the optimal team fight that they're looking for.
No, and I think it's very worrisome that these types of dances are actually occurring. They've maintained this gold lead for so long now, but they're not finding any way to really accelerate it. Even though they have the Tempered Fate, they have Lilia with her E able to open things up and start, but they're not really finding a whole lot of success. Kana not able to really split push either on Renekton. He's not able to really do a whole lot other than just be a defensive meat shield. In a lot of these situations, Faker continuing to try to farm up, but spots like these are not super bad. For Afreeca, you can see the levels for them. The only real problem is in the jungle, and this is because all of the minion waves just keep going into them. Ben as well. Obviously a little bit down, but understandable given that it is Bard. He has the chimes, he's cheating. That is pretty much how that works.
Yep. 2-0-12 as well on the scoreline. The Bard having a pretty good game so far. As, damn, Gumyushi is huge. It's a big load of items that he has for himself. Gonna take him a while to pick up the money to complete either, I guess, Mortal Reminder or the Mercurial Scimitar as his last couple. As we've got QSS and a Mikhail's. It's going to be not a lot of CC affecting T1 this game. We've got Ocean Soul coming up in 45 seconds time, and that is likely to be where the next fight is actually going to come from. As Spirit is running around with Ben on his back in his topside jungle. They'll need to move down here to try and wrestle some control of this botside river. Unless Afreeca are just going to give this up. Bowling Ball not going to connect. Interesting.
This is one of the most perplexing games for me, Alice. The
right.
level, or the... T1 is just so far ahead, and yet they're playing as if they don't realize it. It seems very peculiar.
Yeah.
The decision-making that is going on here. Now, you can understand being overly cautious, perhaps, given the way that they lost Game 2. It's going to be real hard to lose now with this Ocean Drake.
He's going to miss as there's the Ocean Soul, and now a team fight has erupted. Final chapter comes through, but immediately the horse just explodes. And Canna just dishing and dashing around the fight. There is just a hula hoop in the middle of that one as Fly is going to be taken down after a disappointing ultimate, and this will just be T1 mopping the floor with Afreeca. That is a clean ace, and now they should just be able to win the game.
Yeah, with all their HP going back up, they have double Ocean Dragon and Ocean Soul. I mean, all of them are full HP except for Ellum. This is totally fine. They can take another team fight if they have to, but they're not going to. Afreeca are not going to spawn in time. You can see Kana realizing that, wait a minute, we can actually just end the game through middle, and that's what's going to happen here. As the Nexus turrets will fall, Hecarim, I mean, he's gonna, he's not gonna do anything.
He's going to try. He doesn't have an ultimate, so really he doesn't do much at all, and that is going to be Gumayusi picking up yet another kill before that Nexus does fall down. So, blue side, congratulations, 100% win rate so far, but T1 with far more dominant victories in this series, and that is going to be match point for them here in this best of 5. T1 certainly looking like the better team here today, but you were talking about some perplexing decision-making.
Yeah.
I think playing reserved is smart in high-pressure situations, but sometimes you can be punished for it. Fortunately for T1, they weren't, but not necessarily the greatest look.
Yeah, this was really, really interesting. The amount of leads that they had and then how cautious they were with it, especially with the champions that they had. Now, obviously, they do have some sieging weakness because of the Renekton, but with Bard, Jhin, and Zoe, things can definitely get very interesting. Lilia as well with her E, but they went about as careful as you could possibly be. They crossed their T's and dotted their I's on the safety protocols inside of this game, and obviously at the very end, Afreeca, they just barrel right into them post-Ocean Soul capture, and the game was... We knew that's what the fights would go like, pretty much.
Yeah. The thing that I found a little bit weird was Afreeca's positioning leading up to that Ocean Soul. Felt like they weren't really thinking about the Drake, and then they're like, oh yeah, the Drake's a thing. But it was dead before anything really happened. This was the initial dive that got Ellen mega far ahead and really set T1 off. Remember, it was a very long time before Afreeca were able to get any kills in this one. And there weren't too many that happened afterwards, as these baits, these situations where it's because of these extended leads that T1 managed to put together for themselves and were able to make sure that Spirit never got going. Like, this Hecarim did nothing.
Yeah. Everything just really going well for T1 in this game. Ellum getting so far ahead early on. Gumayusi with another very dominant laning phase performance, obviously with the help of his teammates in this game, but never really letting go of it. And,
yeah,
I mean, Afreeca, they just really fell apart. This isn't a draft problem or anything of the likes. You can even see that their team comp, it had a lot going for it. There were still some moments of resilience left inside of them. There's a lot of harmony with the champions, with one another, especially against the Zoe and the Jhin, because Hecarim, Yuumi, Shen able to so reliably get onto them. We saw that here in this fight. In particular, it's very hard for T1 to juggle the aggro, so on even footing, things would have been a lot better. But game 3, from start to finish, every lane and the jungle, just utter decimation.
Yeah, this was a shellacking if ever I've seen one. Not necessarily as fast as a shellacking should be, but when you've got basically a perfect game, certainly isn't. What you want to see is that Shockwave was also a bit telling for how this game had gone so far. For Afreeca, T1 really redeeming themselves. And now, moving into match point, game number 4. Going to be very, very soon. As you can see, a lot of damage done by almost everyone outside of the Bard. It was only really Fly that was able to get poke damage, and Mystic sitting under 10k on the Ezreal really shows just how far behind Afreeca were in this game, because Ezreals normally are topping the charts no matter what you do. Not this time.
Well, we'll have to see what they have in store for the match point game.
Exactly. We'll see you after the break.